Howdy, howdy, howdy. My name's Eric,
And this is Berto.
and this is Totally Bias. Um, so we missed week four. So we're going to jump into week four before addressing kind of what happened week five. So, Bert, your takeaways from week four.
Okay. So like we said, this is week four. This was 2 weeks ago. This was, if everybody who remembers, even though shit changes so quick in college football, you might have already forgotten all this nonsense. But Florida State Clemson was the big game that week. It was a 2.5 point line to Florida State. Um, it did end up going to overtime. Close game throughout. The biggest thing there is their kicker, who apparently is like a walk on or some crap. I forget exactly what he was. Um, Made a field goal early in the game and then had to hit like a 30-yarder or some shit into the game to win the game with like 20 seconds left or something. Shanked it wide left. We go to overtime. Florida State goes down the field, scores, touchdown. Clemson gets it, can't gets to like a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, decides not to run it, passes like I think it was like almost like a bubble route, gets stuffed, 4th down, they throw it again, can't get the fucking 1-2 yards. Game, they lose. Cost me money, but whatever. So that was a big one. And now has 2 losses, but Florida State is still undefeated, so they look good. But depends how you look at it. Is Florida State still as good as we thought they were after the LSU game? We've had a couple close games with Boston College and now Clemson, and Clemson now has 2 losses. I would say is out of the running for the college football playoffs. We know there's a little bit of chaos this year, but I would say you're out with 2 losses, um, especially in conference, 2 losses. That means Duke and Florida State have to have 3 losses to be the tiebreaker. So,
Yep.
yeah.
No divisions this year, so
Yeah, there's no divisions. Yep. So,
makes it even more difficult for Clemson. I guess the Clemson.
Clemsoning. I brought that up. Yeah, is Clemsoning a thing again?
Yep.
That's whack. That like 10 years ago that was a thing, and then they had a stretch of 4 national championship games, like 6 playoffs, 2 national championship wins, and now Clemsoning is back to being a thing. That's wild.
Yeah, not a good time down in Clemson. Yeah, it does put into question, um, unfortunately, how good Florida State is. Like you said, close wins are wins, but going over to overtime against fledgling Clemson team and a Boston College team that you should beat handily, definitely puts it into question. We were speaking high praises of Florida State early in the season. That's on us. Um, you
That's
know,
on everybody, but
yeah,
yes.
the jury's still out, but I think a lot of what Florida State was propped up on was sort of the myth and illusion that was LSU at the time.
Okay.
I think everybody was thinking that LSU was going to be a real contender, and so far they have only proven to be quite the pretender. Um, so
Okay.
you know, but we will get more into
Okay.
LSU, I
Okay. We'll
think.
get into
So
LSU
I
later.
don't
Okay.
want
Okay.
to go too far, but
Other
yeah,
other games in that week, 2 weeks ago, was the Oregon Colorado game. That really wasn't a game. Colorado destroyed them by like 38 or something. It was real bad. It's also the first game Travis Hunter was out because of his concussion protocol or his lacerated liver, whatever the hell that means.
yeah,
Um, so they got exposed. The hype with Dion and these Colorado Buffs was kind of shot there where they got destroyed by like 38 to Oregon. Um, I guess we kind of expected it. I thought they would keep it close on 21 at the line, but they got destroyed. But everybody thought they were going to lose, but I thought they at least keep it close and had something there. But they are still pretty good, just not a contender, which I think we all kind of knew that. We all knew compared to the 1-11 season they had last year, they'd be better. But nobody thought, oh, 10-2 or 11-1 or undefeated when you have to play the Oregons and USC's and Utah's and Oregon States of the Pac-12, which are all really good teams. The Washingtons, it was gonna end pretty soon, and fortunately, it ended at Oregon in a devastating fashion.
yeah. So I'll start with I wouldn't say they were exposed, um, because they're still better than what people thought they would be. Um, Much of the hype around them was generated by other entities that was not them.
Hmm.
Obviously, the national media before the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce stuff came out. This was the
Yes.
biggest thing happening in football. So everyone was latching onto it, and it sort of artificially inflated Colorado. The unfortunate thing is Colorado, like I said, is better than what we thought they were
No,
going to be.
they're good. I think they're good. It's just not that level.
But I think this game is more in line with kind of what the reality of Colorado actually is. Um, and all credit to them for winning 3 games at this point in the season already, right? Most
Yeah,
people had them. The line was, I think, 3.5
three
for
and a
their
half.
win total for
When
the
we did
season.
it at the beginning of the season, smash or pass, 3.5.
Yep, and I believe we passed on that
I think we
line.
passed.
So hey, you never know. Jury's still
Never know.
out. Um,
They're gonna win a game. They're gonna get to 4. There's no way.
yes,
There's
they
no way.
will. Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think that game was really more indicative of where they kind of are. They are obviously not ready to compete with the best teams. I think specifically their offense is not quite ready, and their defense definitely is not ready. Um, and to sort of move into next week, this last week, they played it close against USC, but USC has noted problems on the defensive side of the ball. And I think just about anybody could put up points against USC. Lincoln Riley's uh, only strategy going into games is, score as many goddamn points as possible and hope they can't catch up by the end of the game. And so far it's worked, but it's not going to work forever once they run into more quality teams. But back to Colorado, I mean, good for them. I think they're on the way, but they've got a long way to go before they start competing with the big teams. Um, Oregon being one of those.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree. There's still a ways to go. I think there's potential there. I think I agree the defense isn't there. I think also the trenches, the big men, as we
Yep.
say it, aren't all there yet, but they can recruit. I mean, Dion recruits incredibly, right? He gets people there, transfers, all that. So they could be there. Just obviously it takes time. They're not that Oregon, Washington, USC's teams yet.
Yeah,
So
I think one of the things that I'm seeing is I think recruiting the O and D line is a lot more difficult.
yes.
I think rebuilding from scratch, especially an offensive and defensive line, is much more difficult to do out of the portal than getting some receivers.
Yeah.
Receivers are a dime a dozen. Honestly, you can get some pretty good receivers from all over the place. There's a lot of really good ones out there. The margin, I think, is pretty small between some of the best and what you can find on the transfer portal. But there's no replacement for displacement when it comes to the O line and the D line. They just don't have the bodies right now.
Nope.
I don't know if they will, or not going, in the future. But right now, it's definitely a weakness for them.
Yep. No, I agree. I
Wasn't a
agree.
problem in the USC game, but
Well, the USC game, to your point about the defense, I don't know. They were up by a lot, and then they just kind of USC were up by a lot, and then they kind of let it kind of come back and ended up winning by like 8. But we know there's no defense there, so it just perpetuates what I've been saying for the whole year. USC still really good. Caleb Williams is still probably the front runner for the Heisman. Is going to put up 1,000,000 points in the 1,000,000 yards and touchdowns. But if they can't stop the other guy, I don't know if it'll matter. So we'll see. Other games on the week 4, real quick, was the thrashing that Penn State put on Iowa. The line was 14.5. If you didn't catch that game, you probably fell asleep watching it because it was 31-0. There were 33 offensive plays by Iowa. That is not a miss, right? Or it might have been 36, but either way, it was in the 30s. And Penn State by themselves put up 31 points. So there's almost more points by Penn State than offensive plays by Iowa. It was bad. There was dominance all around the world. It was so bad. Good for Penn State, proving that they are contenders, I guess. In the Big Ten. Iowa, as we've said for 2-3 years now, is still offense is laughable how bad they are. Ridiculous. Don't know if you have any other comments on that.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think you covered it. I think with there's a lot of fun storylines in here. Um, I'll talk Penn State real quick. Um, so they have not been tested, or at least any test that they've come across, they have passed with flying colors.
Yep.
None of their games have been close. None of their games have been even been fun to watch. They've been so lopsided, which is good if you're a Penn State fan. But you know, there's many tests down the road. The real tests are going to be, you know, the conference games near the end of the season. We all know who they're going to play. Those are really the only games they have this season, right? Iowa, though, scoring 0 points is really not good if you understand the context in which the Iowa offense is sort of existing in this season. And that context, if you aren't aware, is the head coach has a son on the coaching staff, and that son is the offensive coordinator. And last season, they were abysmal on offense. I think that's everybody understands that. There is a clause written in the contract that if that team does not score a certain number of points in the season, I believe it's 35 points a game. That
Oh, I didn't think it was that high, but yes, there's a
it's
clause.
yeah, the OC will be fired.
Mm-hmm.
So a 0 spot is not a good time. And it's funny if you watch Iowa games, which I know you aren't and you shouldn't.
It's 25 points, by the way, which
oh, it's
still
25. Okay, 25
still
points.
ridiculous.
Yeah, they don't care about running the clock out. If you watch their games, they will always, even if they're like quote unquote blowing a team out, they will continue to try to put points on the board in the final minutes of the fourth quarter, just because if they don't, they like, you know, they have
That's
to
his job.
Yeah, they have to cover a 0 spot from Penn State,
Yeah.
right? Like they have to cover these games. They know they're not going to be able to score any points in. So they're going to have to run up the score on, you know.
Yeah, that's the OC's job. He's like, oh crap, if I don't put up 25 a game, which he isn't right now, he's literally gonna lose. So he's gonna be like, keep throwing it, keep trying to throw it because they can't. But you know, Jesus, yeah, he's not hitting 25 so far. Just FYI,
No.
which 25 is like meh. It's not like 35 is a lot. I'll give you 35 as be like decent, but 25, come on, dude, come on. But yeah, Iowa, not good. Moving to the other couple games. I know we're talking still week 4. Alabama, Ole Miss. We had said Ole Miss was the best team in the SEC at that point. Alabama had just barely beaten Southern Florida. They didn't look good. Jalen Miller didn't look good. That whole team didn't look good. But they proved us wrong. We took Ole Miss, even though the line was Bama -7. Bama ended up winning by like 14 or something. People say that's where it clicked. That's where it started changing. I think they were tied or even maybe down at the half against that game, and then turned it on. Scored 21, I think, in the second half, and only like allowed 3 by Ole Miss, and pretty much just switched it. I don't know what happened in that halftime or what occurred, but they have figured it out after that, and they won pretty convincingly there to the team we had said was potentially the best team in the SEC, which we discussed that they have a lot of transfers versus Bama having less transfers, more recruits. So maybe the recruits are figuring it out and getting more tested versus the transfers kind of, I don't know, fizzling out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit, right? That the teams with transfers, as long as you can get them to gel early on, they're going to generally have a little bit more experience, theoretically. You know, but yeah, I don't know what happened in that halftime. Like you said, since that game, and we have the benefit now of sort of an extra game, in, you know, at the time of recording this, to kind of understand where they're at. But yeah, they have looked like a different team since then. I do not think the Alabama team that is coming to College Station this weekend is remotely the same Alabama team that lost to Texas and Bryant Denny earlier this season. They do not look the same. Their offense looks remarkably different, and their
Yeah.
defense looks a lot better as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, you know, teams evolve over the course of the season, and right now, I think
Yes.
we've witnessed Alabama evolve into
Yep.
sort of a um, new breed of an Alabama team. I don't know exactly where they are, but you can tell they're trending up and they're taking care of business. So it's
Correct.
it it doesn't look like Alabama is down for the count. It looks like they've sort of gotten back up, and we'll see if they keep fighting, I guess.
Yep. I won't go any more into that just because sake of time and also because we can talk about it later. But just going to the last game of the week 4 was the primetime game day, all that. Ohio State at Notre Dame, classic, guaranteed classic, just immediately classic. Came down to
Wait, what do
literally
you mean classic? They didn't score a lot of points. You have to score a lot of points for it to be a classic.
no. We always talk about the perfect number, the 69. Oh, the 6-9. Sorry,
Oh yeah, yeah.
LSU Alabama game back in the day. So that might be the biggest classic of all time. But anyways, I diverge. Um, Came down to the last play at the 1 yard line with like no time left, and with one less guy on the field. Like it was crazy how much happened in that last play to lose and to essentially we make it just enough at the line of being -3 to be exactly 3. So I don't know if it helped out Vegas, didn't help Vegas, didn't really matter, I guess, because everybody pushed. But literally came down to the last play. Like that was one game until that last drive. So many things happened. There was a penalty. So before this, just to preface this, Notre Dame was winning. They tried it. They were killing the clock. Ohio State's taking timeouts to save time. There was a second down or a third down play, and Notre Dame took the balls to throw it instead of run it. So then Ohio State saved a timeout when they get the ball to go down the field and win the game. There was a flag that would have occurred a 10-second runoff when there was only like 13 or 14 seconds left. So they would have been down to like 3 or 4 seconds because they had not used that timeout because Notre Dame had thrown it instead of ran it and had an incomplete pass. They were able to take a timeout, save 10 seconds, ran 2, 3 more plays, get to the 1, have a last second run that won the game exactly where the 11th guy who wasn't there because there's only 10 guys on the field for Notre Dame on defense was missing, the DN on the left. They ran it in, won the game. What a game. I don't know if it proves a lot. It does prove Ohio State's all right. It's pretty good. I don't think it really changes a lot of the opinion on Notre Dame because, I mean, if you play that game over, like, it literally comes down to a yard for 1 second, 2 seconds, right? So Notre Dame, I don't think really changed anything much. They still look like a good team, but Ohio State looked better than what people thought originally. And then Ryan Day started barking at people for some stuff. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was the whole where's Lou Holtz right now?
Yeah,
Like Lou Holtz is like 106, dude.
yeah,
Chill out.
what?
Uh, I mean, so yeah, that the game, awesome. The final drive there, wild.
Wild.
I think a football game is 60 minutes, right?
Correct.
Um, so you can't put everything on the last drive, right? Things happened early in the game that ended up, but it does really feel like Notre Dame let that one go right at the
Yes.
end. Yeah, the man missing at the end there, all of that. But yeah, the the fireworks that was um Ryan Day, who, as everybody knows, was born on third base, and thinks he hit a home run.
Thinks
Uh,
he hit a triple, dude.
yeah, we're talking. It's
It's
he's had,
crazy.
and I understand it's sustaining a program is hard, but what is Ryan Day hasn't won anything,
No.
right? His program has only continued to decline since he took over, and he had all the talent in the world, and he's got one of the best brands in college football. You can recruit anybody you want to Ohio State, right? I don't know what he's on about. Like I guess he's responding to kind of general criticism, probably as a whole, but it's like, I guess you can yell and scream all you want, but I don't think it changed anybody's thoughts on Ryan Day.
No, no. But you're exactly right. He's born on third base, thinks he hit a triple. Dude, just get to like He can't cross the finish line. He's been surpassed by Michigan when he was set up to just keep on winning national championships. And I don't know, him yelling was kind of just stupid to me. If that one needs to get him fired up and actually win something, hopefully it's good for you because you haven't done shit for 3-4 years now. So, and I say he hasn't done shit. He still wins 10, 11 games, but he can't win the big one. He can't beat Michigan. He can't go to the playoffs and actually win championships. And he has
Yeah.
all the talent. So,
Well, I mean, but the problem is, right, success is not equivalent for all teams in college football, right?
exactly.
Success is contextually based. So a team and a program like Ohio State, which has all of the resources that you need to be successful, there is, you can put the resources and the program that is Ohio State against just about any other program in the country. So there's no excuse to lose at Ohio State. So yeah, I don't know. That was wild, hilarious, definitely off-putting at the same time. And
It's just,
obviously Lou Holtz lives rent-free in his head. So
oh yeah, he lives rent free in his head. But it's also like it's stupid. It's not even a good like soundbite. Like you can find like the Mike Gundy, like I'm a man, I'm 40 is better. Is more like you'll remember that. This one's just like, dude, quit yelling at nothing. Like
yeah, like I mean, he yelled out like, I want to know where Lou Holtz is right now,"
yeah,
as
like,
if like
he's
I'm
gonna
gonna go
like
beat
post
his
stuff on
ass.
him right now. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Like what? Lou Holtz is ancient. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't.
okay, like, come on. Yeah, it was ridiculous. How about Dan Lanning? Dan Lanning went off
Dan
too.
Lanning with Colorado. That
Yeah.
was interesting. You might remember that one. If something happens with Dion or like he like leaves or something, you might remember that one. They're playing for their likes and clicks. We're playing for championships. There's difference. Like okay, dude, I get it. It's kind of like clever. I don't know if he would have yelled that to me in the locker room. I would have been like, oh yeah, because like also to be fair, he was being recorded when that happened. So like
Mhm.
that's literally he's doing it for clicks and likes. It's
Yeah.
kind of ironic. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to remember who he's talking to, though. Like, he's talking to a bunch of like 18 through
Yeah,
21 year
19,
olds.
20-year-olds. Yeah.
So, like, you know, and I think I think if I were to put myself in their head, right, he's sort of trying to play up the like, they're disrespecting you by not talking about you, sort of in a way, and like they're doing it the wrong way, right? Like, they're just doing it to like be pretty and like get
Yeah.
likes and stuff. Like, we trained all this time, we put in the hard work. Like, let's go talk with our pads, which is what he said, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna go talk with the pads. So I get it. Like, and honestly, like, whatever your coach is saying doesn't honestly fucking matter. Like, what he's saying doesn't really matter. It's more about like how he's saying it. So it's like, if he's fucking fired up, like, that's what's going to get you going. It doesn't really have to be intelligible, like what the hell he's saying, But like his
I
implication
guess.
that like the media and everybody's like disrespecting you and like by like focusing on them and not us, like, I don't know,
Yeah, but
hilarious in its own right,
that's it is hilarious because it's I mean it's a good click. It's a good click bite and ironically that's what came out of it. But it's like whenever like I get it, the media is doing that. We've talked about we thought Oregon was better. Um, it's like whenever Georgia and Kirby Smart are like, oh, they always counted us out, and you're like, nobody fucking counted you out. You were a national championship. Why would you not expect them to do it again potentially the next year? And even now, like you have to find like built like bulletin board material. Like I guess, and I guess to your point, it doesn't really matter what he yells, as long as he yells something is into it. I guess it gets you hyped, but it's just kind of dumb that that's what he said, but it's a better line than Ryan Day being like, "Where's Lou Holtz?"
Where the fuck is Lou Holtz?
So,
I mean,
so,
but at the end of the day, though, right? They are in, they are in the entertainment business, right?
correct,
And that was
exactly.
entertaining, I suppose. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I'm saying. It's
good on
ironic that he
him.
said that, but
Yes, it
I
is
mean,
ironic.
it worked. It's funny. It worked. It'll do what he does,
It's
whatever.
all that
But
matters.
everybody does that. Like the Colorado State not to keep on going on this, Colorado State, like, oh yeah, my mom taught me whenever I talk to an adult, I take off my shades and my hat. Like, dude, is that what you're going off of? Like, I get it. Like, get on Dion for shit, but like, come on. You just take off your hat and your like shades, like that's what it is. It just seems like it's anything these days, just anything. And they're like, oh yeah, pump them up. Like, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose in a way, when Dion's on, on the docket for that next week, if I'm the communication department or the social media director at a university and my team is playing Dion the next week, I'm telling my coach, you are free and clear to say whatever the fuck
Whatever
you
you
want,
want.
right? And we're gonna clip it, and they're gonna clip it, and we're all
Yeah.
gonna start clipping things, and we're gonna get 6 days worth of
Free
just
publicity.
crazy media
Yeah.
attention,
Yeah.
for free. So why
Yeah.
not?
I guess. It is what it is.
I wish Lincoln Riley had said some, crazy shit. That'd been fun.
No, he just sucks at defense and sucks at making brisket. So
Yeah, that's true.
it's fine. It's fine. We know what he is.
And maybe his brother isn't as good at coaching offense as we thought he was.
Oof. Also potentially a thing.
Yeah,
Potentially.
he can't coach defense, and his brother can't coach offense. Unfortunately, his brother is an offensive coordinator. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I
oops.
think he'll figure it out, but
Sure.
oops for so far. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so far.
so far it doesn't look like it for Clemson. So